Today I thought I'd do, a Christmas tree, but not just any Christmas tree, a little gnome house Christmas tree. Alright, this project started out with these. I saw them at a garage sale. There was 8 of them, and she actually used them as gnome hats, which I'm sure was absolutely adorable. I had an idea of making Christmas trees, which is what they're for, but we're going to go a step further and make tree houses. So maybe houses for the gnomes. Gnome tree houses. Let's see what we can do. So we have that. I have a whole bunch of these little cutouts that I bought a long time ago. There was a whole package of just doors and windows and things. Definitely gonna use these. Went to the craft store, found this. This is gonna be perfect. I wanted a thin garland so that I can wrap it around because it's a tree. It's going to be a tree. And then I found a little bit of these like berry branches, and I want to go for a more natural, more country look. So I went for a lot of natural colors, and then this kind of burlap ribbon, which is really cool. And I didn't realize it had wire in it, but hey, that'll work. I also got this bag of, I know, I have no reason to buy pine cones. If you see where I live, I'm surrounded by trees, but these are perfect little tiny pine cones, which we don't have. And then just anything that was kind of plant, country, forest, that kind of look. And then I found these lights. So how I'm going to attach these, I have no idea. But once I got these lights, I didn't realize that the battery pack, they take 3 AA batteries. These suckers are heavy, but that, as you're going to see later, that's going to work to our advantage because it weighs down the tree so it doesn't topple over. So it kind of worked out. So I'm just working out I'm going to attach it to the tree. And I think I'm going to take my little twisty ties. I have a whole stash of these little guys. Hey, when you get your bag of onions and apples and things, just a few extra ties every time. I have a collection of them. I find them in my pockets all the time. And then I'm just going to try to tie this on so that it's not flopping around too much. I did also end up just putting a little bit of hot glue. Just a little bit, because I want to be able, whoever gets one of these, I want them to be able to open it and change the batteries if they need to. You got to think of these things. And I'm just going to wrap it around. So, I did have to, once I started one and then you find out that you're kind of have too much at the end. Yep, like that. Then you're going to have to unwrap it and just change until you get it. The perfect spiral there. Just going to use my little twist ties just to tack it down so it doesn't slide everywhere, and it still works. It's gonna look good. These ones, I think it's like 50 lights on there. I tried to get the shortest light I could find. I think it worked out just right. And now we're just gonna take our garland, wrap that around. I ended up doing 5 of these, and the first one is always the awkward one, right? Once you figure it out, then I could almost do all 3 strands all at the same time. Just wrap it all the way up. There we go. Not too shabby. Like I said, that was the first one, and all of my other ones, I wrapped them a little bit tighter because I had a lot of garland. I was being conservative just because I wasn't sure how far my materials was going to go. But I think that's going to work. Yeah, see, it's a little bit tighter now. Now, my idea, because I want this to be a house, is it's got to have a little roof, right? And we have chickens and we have lots of egg cartons that people donate. And this little peak here, right in the middle, I think is going to be perfect for our little template. So I'm going to cut these out. This egg carton was tougher to cut than I thought it would be. But just got the general shape. This isn't going to be the end result, but I needed something as my base. And that's going to fit just right. And I'm going to think about how I'm going to do the rest. Yeah, that's going to work. Not sure how I'm going to tile it yet, so I put it in timeout for just a minute and work on something a little bit funner. So we got some windows and doors, and I got a bunch of them. So my thought is, so I painted it kind of a suede brown. This is the same color that I painted the gingerbread houses. Again, we're just kind of keep it that country, cottage look. And I got some pretty tissue paper, and I'm going to back these up because you'll be able to see through them otherwise. So I'm just going to glue it down and cut them out. That's going to be our window panes. Once we got them all dry and cut out, they need a little bit extra something, and I have a lot of this garland stuff, so I thought I would outline each one with a piece of this greenery here. Plus my trees in my head, they're a little too brown, that beige color from the ribbon, so I want to add more green to it. And this is why I save stuff. These little wreaths, you know what they're from? So you remember, if you haven't see the haunted house, the New Orleans haunted house, those were from the street lamps. They were from the Christmas Village street lamps. I just pulled those off and I saved them, and they're the perfect size for this. So I put them on each door. And then I just put a little tiny bead for the door handle. The doorknob. See, save all those things. You never know when they come into play. Now, I decided, this was after a lot of debate, but I decided that I'm going to hot glue these on. Hot glue is great with things that are very porous or fibrous because it just sticks everywhere. Have you tried to get hot glue out of something fuzzy? Yeah. So this is going to work out nicely. Usually I try to avoid hot glue as much as possible because it's not 100% reliable, but for this particular one, it's going to work out. So I'm just going to put my door and my windows up, and they ain't going to go anywhere. Made sure to squish these on extra tight so that there's no gaps. So that we want the illusion that this is a house with windows and a door, not just a door just floating on top of the tree. So I did squish them in a little bit and then turn it on, and the lights will shine through, I'm hoping. Yep. Ta-da! That worked out. I had this plan in my head, and I'm really proud that this actually turned out how I thought it would. So now we got to deal with the top. We put it off long enough. And I did notice that my roofs were a little bit shorter than I expected, so I did have to add a little bit of garland on the top just to fill that in. Alright, so now we got these. I have lots of just spare cuts of cardboard and things like that. So I think I'm just going to make a scallop roof. So I just cut a lot of half circles and just built it all the way up. And as usual, the first one is always the tricky one, and then after I made the other ones, they went pretty quick. So I'm just gonna go all the way up here and down the sides, and there we go. Kind of looks like a little pagoda top, and I put a glob on glue on the top just to round it out. But I want it to look more like a pine cone or part of the tree. That's my vision anyway. Right now it just kind of looks like a little Japanese house, which is not bad. But to change that, I'm gonna spray paint this green. It changes the whole thing. There we go. And I also just did a light dusting of my copper spray paint just to tone down that harsh green a little bit. And I think it turned out pretty good. It especially goes a lot better with the whole tree. It matches better. Before it kind of stood out like, what did you stick on top there? There we go. That looks right. And I just glued them down. And now we need something on the top there. So I have this long garland of coppery stars, which I think is going to be absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to cut the big stars off of this, and I'm going to stick it on the top of my tree. Gotta have a tree, or a star on the top of your tree, right? Especially if we're going Christmassy. Now we're just gonna have some fun. I got my bag of things. I decided not to use the acorns. They're super cute, but they don't go with a pine tree. I wanted it to be a little bit of realism and make sense. You know, you can be whimsical, but make it make sense. You know, I want a little gnome lives in this house, but it's a pine tree, so you have to have pine cones. And then I have these really cute little holly leaves, so I want to use that too, just to add a little more greenery. I'm trying to add a little more green because they turned out really brown. Looks really, really cute. Too cute. I live in there. And then, last thing, just stick the star on top. I didn't want to do it before because I knew I would knock it off. And just add the star on top. Ta-da! These turned out really neat. I really like these. I have a craft show coming up, and I think I'm going to bring these, and I think people are going to like them because I'm pleased with them. I wish I could have made 8 of them, but I didn't have enough stuff for it. I didn't have the lights, and they're pretty easy to do. Not too bad. If you do try to do this, you could do anything. You can make different roofs. You can not do a roof at all. You can make little chimneys. You can do ladders, and I had all sorts of ideas, but I had to tone it down, you know. But sometimes I can go a little overboard. Simple is best. I think, what was it? Project Runway? They were like, whatever your idea is, you know, as crazy as it is, take 2 things off, and there you go. And then it's perfect. Edit. I don't know. I made it work. So if you like this, you know, definitely do a thumbs up. It really does help me out. And hit that subscribe. You know the rigmarole. Leave a comment. What do you think? Not too shabby, eh? And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and a warm winter.